Welcome to Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbee. This evening, we have a special guest, Mr. George P. Brooks. Okay, you're on the air.
Good evening. Good evening. Hope everybody is fine. My name is George P. Brooks, CEO and founder of Meta Association. What we are a nonprofit, and we focus on Black male mental health, but also all Black mental health. We fight recidivism, and we also promote healthy fatherhood. We're active in the community. I'm a public speaker, part-time actor, writer, producer, sort of a jack of all trades. So if you're interested in collaborating with me or my nonprofit, you can reach me at 901-631-4300. Once again, George P. Brooks, and glad to be here this evening. So thank you.
Okay, so what else you would like to share with my listeners? You got 30 minutes.
Right. Well, what I want to do is kind of have a discussion about us really addressing our mental health as a people. For generations and centuries, Black people have never addressed our mental or emotional health. And I feel that since the pandemic and since things have occurred in our society, it's time for us to finally address those so we can take our rightful place in society as leaders, as trendsetters, as rulers of industry that I feel like we are entitled to, that I feel like we deserve, and I feel like we are capable of. But the first step to ending the strife between Black men and Black women, the beginning part to really improving our communities, to helping our children, to keeping us from dying in the streets, is to deal with that thing that is that mental and emotional health. That one thing that many of us as Black men feel as though is a weakness to admit that you have an issue with. We got to change our way of thinking, because we are thinking the way the enemy has prescribed that we think. We are thinking the way that they have indoctrinated us to think like. And all it does is cause divisiveness and death in our communities. A lot of the tactics that those that would aim to oppress us has used started in slavery. And they were instilled in order to divide the family, to divide the family structure of the Black man, in order to break down our society, our mental health, and how we get along. And now that we are aware of these things, there's no reason why we should continue to do them. We as a people got to get over this crab in a bucket mentality. One of us starts to climb up, you got five of us trying to pull us down. Why? Who does that help? All it does is keep you in bondage, whether it be a figurative and sometimes a literal one. So we really need to start to address these things, or else our race will be extinct, especially Black men. We need to try to deal with these things now for ourselves, for our children, and so that we can help and benefit the rest of the world and our brothers and sisters of all races. But right now, we're a sick society. Black society is sick. We're ill. And until we start to heal ourselves, all we're going to do is just continue to waste away, wither away, and down the vine.
Okay, I agree 100%. I just did a podcast about that today, earlier. Actually, that's what I talk about. I promoted my revised book, Again, the name of my book is The Solution for Black America, Reclaiming, Rebuilding, and Restoring the Urban Ghettos in America, second edition. Except I have a term for our issue that we face, and that is that Willie Lynch mentality.
Right.
That's what I call it in my book, and also from personal experience. I've been pushing my vision and plan to help our people here in the city of Chicago for the past 32 years.
Right.
And I hate to tell you this, my brother, but I have little to no support.
Right. And I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee.
I hear you.
I'm straight out of South Memphis. I grew up there 40 years. And you don't get support.
But my thing is, I'm not going to sit up here and let that phase me. This is when I created my platform, because I want to my message to be heard loud and clear to those who will heed to what I'm trying to say. Now, what I wrote in my revised book, a lot of those things are coming to pass. For example, I was saying that, all these other groups, they're on code. Black people don't have a code. But what I'm selling in my revised book, I'm selling knowledge, and I'm selling a code. All the principles in my revised book, that is the code. And what makes my business different than other Black organizations is that we're going to raise the bar over here. The name of my business is the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago. Our mission is to help eradicate urban violence in Chicago through art, culture, commerce, spiritual development, as well as hosting African tours. We're going to visit 10 African nations. Each African nation that we visit, we're going to set up local chapters. So that way we can do international trade with our brothers and sisters on the continent. In this business, we're going to heal from that Willie Lynch mentality.
Right.
We're going to heal from that. How are we going to heal? We're going to separate ourselves from these off-code Negroes within our Black society. Right. Those are, I would say, hardened criminals, urban terrorists, pedophiles, degenerates, the people that just basically want to bring down our racial group. Right. And they're being promoted, in, I would say, the music industry, in films, because that's what the white supremacist financial elites want to give that delusion that, this is how Black society is. And that's what, quote unquote, real Black people are. Right. And that's a lie. That's why I'm trying even though it's a struggle. Like I said, I've been pushing my vision for the past 32 years. Right. I got a revised book out here and it's barely selling. I have a virtual store where I'm trying to sell items. That's barely selling. And so I'm like, Dad, what more can I do? So I'm trying to turn my story into a film. This is my last attempt to try to do something positive for our racial group here in America. Right. Before I couldn't run, because this is a mission that has to be fulfilled. And I'm going to do my best to make that happen. And so I'm reaching out to African immigrants here within the United States of America, from 10 African nations. And they are as follows: South Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Uganda, Angola, Liberia, Ivory Coast, Ghana, and Nigeria. Right. So I want those brothers and sisters that's already here in the United States. I want them to first read my story, because I need people to understand what this is all about. I can't say all of this within, I would say, an hour or two like that. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to read my story for themselves. Right. And so they'll know what this is all about. Again, I just want to connect with other like-minded Black people and like-minded Africans that want more out of life. We're going to build this organization together. First, the proceeds from the film, that's going to put me in a better position financially so that I can hire qualified Black middle-class professionals, African immigrants here in America, and for us to build this business together, starting here in the city of Chicago, and make our presence known in the low-income African-American community, starting from where I used to live on the west side. We're going to cover Austin, Garfield Park, and North Lawndale, and then eventually expand to the south side of Chicago. We want to make Chicago a model for hopefully for other cities throughout the United States of America, for our people to, go ahead and embrace this vision that I have.
Right. And one thing we have to do, we have to espouse a sentiment of Black entrepreneurship. Of course. We have to really try to get things in place where we can foster Black people owning their own businesses. It's my hope that one day in every major city, there's a thriving Black financial district in every city. Amen. It's my hope that we have our own economic independence in our own communities. I feel like things like integration actually hurt us.
Of course.
It didn't put us in a better position.
No, it didn't.
We felt that as though access meant equality, and it didn't. Just because we can drink from the same water fountain didn't mean that we were given afforded the same opportunities or and things like that. So while I'm not a separatist at all, while I'm not one who's an elitist at all, while I'm not one who has any issue with any other race or culture, if they're smart enough to come in our communities and build businesses and thrive and take that back to their communities, more power to them. We can't get mad because we should have been doing the same stuff.
Yes.
We haven't. No. So why get mad at the Korean gentleman who works hard every day in his neighborhood, or the gentleman, the Arab gentleman who has a store in the community, who really is, working hard every day? Why should we get mad when we could do that ourselves? But yet we rather spend money on rims, tennis shoes, liquor, and women than taking that money, investing it, and starting a business in our own neighborhoods to employ ourselves, to feed ourselves.
And that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to build.
Right.
But like I said, I've been overlooked for 32 years. I'm like, what's up? You know?
Right. It is just,
anyway, my thing is, that's how come once we get it established here, I'm turning it over to the people that I'm going to put in place and taking my business to Africa.
Right.
So
and I do a lot of speaking. I do a lot of speaking with people in Nigeria. I have business contacts over there.
No.
And one thing, I'm planning on producing a documentary over there in about a year or so.
Okay, cool.
Mental health and things like this. So I have links over there, and I feel as though it is important that we do re-solidify our links to the motherland socially, technologically, economically, and root with our brothers and sisters over there also to try to make our lives in both countries better.
That's right.
There's a tremendous resource. There's some synergy there. Yeah. Excuse me. We do not have to be dependent on the white man. We don't have the white man is not our enemy. We are our enemy as individuals. Your only enemy, your only competition in life is yourself. Once we get over that trauma-induced, victimized, pussified thinking, well, yeah, it's always somebody else, and look into ourselves as individuals, especially as Black men, and deal with our own stuff, it'll get better. So what I don't want to promote is the notion of a victimized way of thinking, because once you think like a victim, it impedes your ability to act like a hero. So we have to keep that on the forefront. We can't worry about, while we have to address the effects of slavery, while we have to address the effects of institutional racism and be honest about it and find ways to counteract it, they're not going to go away. They're not going to go away. So we can't let that, hamstring us in terms of what we do and how we act. We can't be afraid to act or go for that business loan because you have the attitude where they ain't going to give it to a Black man. You still have to try. You still have to strive. You still have to go. And a lot of times we as people get so wound up into thinking that whatever we ask for, it'll be a no. No, the world's not like that. You got to keep fighting. You got to keep fighting. You got to keep trying. And it's time for us Black people to do it. Because here's the thing, like you said with your book, you don't get a lot of support when you post positive videos, do you?
No, I don't.
But if you post a girl at the twerking, you're gonna get thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of views.
And I'm not going out that way neither. So I'm staying,
Yeah, I don't subscribe to that either. But that's the thing. We have to keep finding ways to reach that audience and to get attention. And if that means being controversial without it being contrived, and what I mean by that is saying things that people maybe don't feel comfortable hearing, but if it's the truth, we have to do that. We have to trumpet that, because right now social media is becoming a microcosm for our country, and we're seeing a lot of trash thinking. We're seeing a lot of junk food ingestion of social media, but people don't want to eat what's good for them. That's right. Because it's boring. But his thing, that's what keeps you alive. Yeah. So a lot of the message that we'll be espousing about Black enterprise, spirituality, trying to live the right way, trying to build our communities instead of tear them down, it's going to fall on deaf ears sometimes. And people will hear us, but they won't necessarily listen until it hits home to them. That's the thing. If you're not affected by something, you're typically not going to respond to it.
Yeah. I do want to mention my business is going to have 9 main components. A social service component, a spiritual component, which will be optional for secular people, because we're not going to be beating people upside the head and saying, well, you got to be saved and all that stuff.
No, you ain't got to do that. Yeah,
because this is not my business. Is not the church,
right?
I'm going beyond the 4 walls of the church.
Because religion and spirituality aren't the same thing.
I got you.
Religion is a particular dogma. It's draconian. Spirituality can encompass whatever you got to have for yourself. So I'm not, even though I consider myself a Christian, I'm not a purveyor of any particular religion, but have your spirituality, have something you believe in. Even an atheist can be spiritual. So I'm all for that.
Mm-hmm. We're going to have a political component and teach our people, the importance about politics, the ins and outs, because our people have been voting off code for 60 years.
Yeah, we've been voting for Democrats.
Political party.
Yeah, we've been sucking up to the tit of the Democrats, and they ain't doing us a damn bit of good.
That's right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we should all, be Trump 2024, but the thing is that old adage of Black folks voting along party lines has not served us well. We need to vote for who represents our individual interests. And one election it may be a Democrat, then the very next one it may be a Republican, but you vote according to your interests, not according to what society says you should. Because how has voting for Democrats really benefited us?
And also, I say vote for the policy that's going to benefit, our group.
Our people.
But what we promote over here, on my channel is we promote lineage-based cash payment reparations for descendants of American slaves and an anti-Black hate crime bill. That's what I'm trying to get, our people to think like that.
Right.
A long time ago, they've been laughing at me and all that kind of stuff. But now, since these, I would say, since the Biden administration has opened up the floodgates for these, for the borders, now these immigrants are coming over here, illegal immigrants, and they're going to take up resources.
Yeah, and resources that we, frankly, while we have them, they aren't allocated for us. Those resources are meant for us because, as far as the reparations talk, we have to be. I don't think we'll ever get reparations like we deserve. I think we should be open to alternatives for reparations in terms of a cash payment because I don't think that's going to happen. But we have to have these discussions to go to the government and make viable proposals in terms of reparations if this ever to happen. But for that to happen, we have to first be unified. We have to first have a common voice, or at least less dissenting voices, to where some singularity can be heard and some objectivity can be attained and some clarity can be amassed. So we got a lot of work to do as a people. But shows like this and your film and your book are going to help us hopefully get to that point and add to a sense of, like I said, Black enterprise, Black independence, Black free thinking, free discussion, free exchange of ideas, like other races and cultures that they are able to do, and which is the reason they're able to prosper. You saw how quick the Asian community got their hate crime bill passed. Of course. Why? Because they were organized. Even though they have dissenting views, they're not a monolith, but yet and still they can have dissenting voices and yet still unify for something that works for the common good of their people. And for some reason, we can't continue to do that. We're too worried about TD Jakes and Puffy. TD Jakes and Puffy got their money. They ain't really our concern. We need to be worried about what's going on in our own homes and what's next door to us.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to have an entrepreneur component where we're going to teach our members and students how to create their own nonprofits as well as for-profit businesses. Right. We're going to have an entertainment component where we want to promote Black empowerment films. Right. We're going to have a Black grassroots media component, and it's sort of like what I'm doing now with this, but we're going to own it and control it.
Right.
We're going to have a health and wellness component, a science and technology component. And finally, we're going to have a travel and tourism component.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that's all I'm trying to do, my brother.
Right. And we need things like that. And the thing is, I don't want us to get into the mindset of saying we should have had this 40 years ago. You get things on God's time. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's time for us as a people, as a diaspora of Black people, to finally start working toward those things. Yeah, we've been a little bit behind the curve. We've had things to deal with that other cultures and other races have not had to deal with that are unique to us. But I feel like it's getting to the point now we're beginning to use a lot of that as an excuse and as an albatross, and it's doing nothing but holding us back. Especially our in terms of relationships between men and women. And we have to get back to ourselves and who we are, not only as Black people, but as individuals. We are not a monolith. We do not all think alike. We do not all believe alike. We do not all live alike. But there needs to be some common things in which, even though we do have divergent views and we do have differing opinions on so many things as a people, that hopefully we can find those threads that will link us together in order to make sure that our race is okay and to make sure that other races is okay. So that's what the Asians were able to do with their hate crime bill. So why can we not do the same? Or even though we're not doing that same way yet, how can we get to the point where we can facilitate those things for ourselves?
Okay, great. I want to ask you now, you say you're an author, correct? Are you published?
I'm not published. I've written some articles and things like that, but I'm actually working on my book. And it should be out hopefully by the end of summer of this year. So
okay, good. I want you to come back on here and promote that on here.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I'm about. I'm not just on here trying to sell my stuff. I want to be a blessing to everybody that's on my friends list.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
Yeah. We still got some time, you know. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Oh man, I think, you know, as a people, not just black people, but all people, we really got to get to where we treat each other better on an individual level. I think social media has made us self-centered. It's given us a false sense of importance. It's given us a sense that while we all have feelings and opinions, they don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I mean, you posting a meme doesn't do anything to facilitate any change in the world. It's your action. If you feel passionate about something, volunteer for that cause, donate to that cause, interact with that cause, support your nonprofits. The pandemic kicked our butts. And me running a nonprofit, I survived the pandemic. I survived the subsequent recession. But we need donations. My nonprofit works in the Black community. It works in every community. But we have a cash app for taking donations at $Meta, METTA Association. We need support to keep these programs coming. And in order to do the work, because what I'm beginning to see is a trend, whereas we should be relying less on the government for social programs and rely more so on our nonprofits. I don't even think we should necessarily rely on the church so much, but our nonprofits and these social programs and things that people in our communities are building need to be funded through donations and through grants, because the people doing the work are the ones that are on the front lines. I live with a mental illness. I've raised a son with a mental illness. I've grown up with it. I went through a 10-year cocaine addiction. I'm well suited, or as well suited, to do this work as anyone. I wouldn't feel comfortable with a bureaucrat or someone in the government allocating resources to someone that's going through addiction when I've been through it. I know what they need. I know better than that person. So we have to get to where we're putting the best people in positions to do those things that need to be done, and not worry about nepotism and not worry about who knows who, and get away from the cliques and start putting the best people in the best positions to help lead us as a people.
Okay, cool. I totally agree with where you're coming from.
Right.
Now, if you don't mind, what state are you in?
I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee, but I live in Dallas, Texas
now. Oh, okay, Texas.
I've been here about 5.5, 6 years almost.
Okay. All right.
I have extreme love for both cities. I'm doing my best to help my hometown of Memphis and help Dallas, but I got enough love and energy to help other cities. So I definitely feel as though I could be of help to people in Chicago. I'm trying to help people in the UK. I'm trying to help people in Africa. I'm just trying to help as many people in as many societies, neighborhoods, and Black people and white people as I can.
I got you. No problem with that. And I know since you're in Texas, you are already, I guess, you're witnessing, the migrant crisis down there.
Yeah, I am. And my feeling on that is that we need to secure our borders.
Of course.
On all sides. Of course. Here's the thing. Instead of stigmatizing immigration, let us use this to make an opportunity to create jobs in our country by creating a system where people can come in legally and cut the west side a lot of the red tape that takes their asylum status into consideration, that takes their safety, their health into consideration. Get them documented, get them on the tax roll so they can pay into the system. That way, if they do need resources, at least there's some reciprocity there for us, where we're not breaking ourselves to take care of people. Let's create a clearinghouse. Instead of building a wall, let's build centers where people can come to. I want to come into the country, find out who you are, screen you, find out who you are, and make it in a way where it's human, where it's humanitarian, where it's people-centric, where it's people-focused, instead of this policy of just close the borders, shut down the borders, because we are all descendants of immigrants, forced or voluntary. And if you're not a Native American, you are the children of an immigrant. So there is no, this is my country. No, we stole this country. Christopher Columbus didn't discover anything. If I walk into your house, my friend, if I come to your house and you sitting there having dinner and I come in, I cannot say I discovered your house. No, I broke in on you. I did a home invasion. That's all Columbus did, was a country invasion. So we have to get ourselves thinking about how we view other people. Then to call people illegal immigrants, that's sort of dehumanizing. They're just undocumented because we haven't done what we're supposed to do as a country to make sure people can come in. And that don't mean everybody's gonna get in. That's not what that means. But at least we have a system in place where we can create some jobs. We can make it into an economy. But you got those in power don't want any brown people in because they take the jobs that we typically don't want to take. It's such a complicated thing, but until we get to where we start seeing people as human and reacting as such by the fact that people are going to come over here illegally, create a system where they can come over here legally, that you can create tax revenue off of, that you can use to build infrastructure off of, that's safe for people. But people profit off misery. You know what I'm saying? That's why they demonize us, because when they demonize us as black men, they sell more guns, they sell more security systems, they build more prisons. It's all exploitive. And we stop trying to exploit people for negative things and try to exploit the positivity and the things that we have in common, we'll find we have a much better economy and a much better society.
Okay, great. All right, well, I have ran out of things to say.
Right.
I mean, do you have any specific questions you'd like to ask me?
I really don't. It's just, when can we get started? What is going to be the next step in unifying us as a people? Because I do a lot of appearances. I do a lot of public speaking. If you need me to come out and speak publicly with your organization, with your church, nonprofit, school, whatever, you can reach me at 901-631-4300. We also hold workshops. We also hold classes, seminars. I also do acting. I do public speaking. I do writing. So anything that you may want to collaborate on, you can reach me at 901-631-4300.
Okay, let me ask you this before we wrap up. Do you have a specific website?
Yes, we have a website. It's METTA association.org. It's under construction. It should be up within the next 7 to 10 days. But you can email me at gbrooks, that's GBROOKS, at metaassociation.org. That's METTA association.org. And like I said, you can shoot me a text or call me at 901-631-4300. We can come out if you have a webinar, seminar, anything where you feel as though me and my nonprofit can be a benefit to you. I'm also doing some things politically. I'll be the campaign manager for Kendall Richardson, who's running for mayor of Dallas. I was just the campaign manager for my friend in Memphis, Damon Curry Morris. So I've got my hand in many, many hats, because I'm trying to do as much as I can to benefit my community. Amen. And sometimes you have to do many things. I'm trying to attain things for myself, and sometimes you have to do things you've never done to get what you never had. And that's an attitude that we really need to stress to our community, so we don't get stuck doing the same things that aren't working for us.
No, I got you.
Really important.
All right. Well, we're gonna that's gonna conclude our show for this evening. Thank you all for listening. Again, I encourage all of my listeners to please support my my revised book by reading my story, and support our film project. I'm gonna have those links in the comment section below this video podcast. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. Peace and blessings. And that's going to conclude